Hey, my friends. When I think about going camping, I think about having an experience or a set of experiences that are enjoyable, they're fun, and they're relaxing. It's making memories. This is what it's about. It's not about stress and or anxious types of feelings. Anxiety has no place at the campground. And a lot of people I talk to are stressed out thinking about their camping trip. Do they have all their stuff? Do they have all their right gear? And it really isn't about that. Camping is really not about all this special gear. Is it nice to have some of it? It is. Sometimes it's just nice to have technology. But it's not necessary to enjoy yourself. The whole reason that we go camping is to get away from the world, to be in a different environment, a more natural environment. A lot of people camp in a forest environment for a reason, because it's very calming and it helps to rebalance ourselves and to get away from all the distractions in the world. And so for me, I just want to kind of maybe focus on one point here, and that is how to simplify your camping experience and how you can go and not have to buy any so-called camping gear to have a fun camping experience. And so I have a short list here I want to read off. And it really starts with use what you already have. Use what you have. And for most of us, we have plenty of things at our home to take care of all of our needs for a weekend of camping. And for a lot of us that only go out once a year, we may be car camping. And if we're car camping and we're only spending one night in a park or in a forest, you really don't need much to get through that particular experience and to have a good time and to be comfortable. You don't need much. So instead of having like sleeping bags, you can just bring blankets and pillows off your bed. No problem. Instead of worrying about, do I have a camping lantern? If you have a flashlight or a headlamp, just bring that. It works just fine. Instead of worrying about some type of freeze-dried camping food, and there's nothing wrong with a lot of this stuff. It's just, if you're not doing the activity very often, if you're not camping into a remote area, then you don't really need to worry so much about bulk and weight. So if you're car camping once again, don't worry about getting these special freeze-dried food. You can simply just pre-cook some food before you leave, or bring some food that requires no cooking. Especially if you're there for like 24 hours and you're just spending one night. Even if you skipped a meal or two, you're not going to die. You're not going to starve. Everything's going to be okay. And I have to laugh a lot of times when people are so concerned about, when are we going to eat, And even though they just ate a few hours before, it's like, dude, you're not going to starve. And if you are sleeping outside and not in your vehicle, you can simply just use a tarp. A lot of us have old tarps in our shed or garage or our barn. Just grab a tarp. You don't need a tent. Especially if you only do this once a year or once every other year you go out and camping. It doesn't really make sense to invest into a tent. Even though tents can be found very inexpensive now, a lot of people don't even want the hassle of having to store the tent, keep up with the tent, put up a tent, take down the tent, blah, blah, blah. Next is, if you don't have any special camping cookware, don't worry. You have cookware, you have pots and pans and so forth at home in your kitchen. Just bring a few of those items if you do plan on cooking at the campsite. And once again, you don't need special stoves. Just as long as it's legal at that site to have a campfire, you can just cook over the open fire, and it works just fine. People have been doing it for thousands of years. Next is, a washcloth. You don't have to have a special camp towel or a camp cloth. It's just not necessary. Typically, what you see though when they have these special camp towels, they're made of like polyester or some type of microfiber, and that's just because they dry quick. But believe it or not, if you look around your kitchen and your bathroom and look at your washcloths, at least mine are pretty much all synthetic as well. So I don't really see any difference. Cordage. You don't need to go and get special parachute cord or bank line, even though that's really nice to have. And I would recommend that if you have the money and you have the interest, but it's not necessary at all to have a good, fun camping experience. And so you can just go to a big box store or just use whatever you have around the house to string up a tarp or to do whatever it is. A clothesline if you just want to air out some clothes that may have gotten kind of wet or damp, or maybe you got sweaty and you just want to dry some clothes out. There you go. It's real easy. You can just use, polyester rope, cordage. That stuff is super cheap. In my area, you can get like 40 to 50 feet of it for $1, and it's plenty strong to do what you need. Also, I want to talk about like synthetic clothing. It's kind of the same thing we're talking about with the washcloth. If you can, just use some athletic, wear, and so that helps to, wick away moisture from the body. I just would avoid cotton when possible. Water bottles. That's all you need. If you're going to go on a hike, just bring a water bottle or two, and you typically already have that at home. If you work out, if you go to work and you bring a water bottle or a thermos, you have those things already. You don't need a special canteen. You'd be surprised of how many people have messaged me over the years saying, hey, I can't go camping yet. I don't have a canteen. But then I say, well, do you have a water bottle? And they say, yes. I was like, well, why can't you use your water bottle? And believe it or not, people are not trying to be silly, but people are just thinking within a box. They constrain themselves within a box. And that's what this whole video is about, just to rethink what it means to go camping. It's not about the stuff, it's about the experience. The next is, if you're going to process any wood or need to process wood for your campfire, don't worry about going out and get a big axe or even a camp hatchet. It's not really necessary. Now, if you did this on a regular basis and you were going to stay out for a long period of time, possibly you'd want to have those things, possibly. But still, I would rather have a collapsible bow saw or a folding hand saw for the majority of the time in most locations. And that's something that you can look into. You can get them for really cheap. In my area, you can get them for less than $10, a nice folding hand saw. It'll probably last you for many years if you take care of it. Okay, so let's say that you don't have a special camp fixed blade knife. Don't worry. If you have a multi-tool that has a blade, if you have a pocket knife, that'll pretty much take care of pretty much everything you need for the average person that's a novice going camping. It's just not a big deal. Most of the time, all you're doing is cutting cord, cordage for whatever you're working on, maybe opening a package, maybe doing some whittling. Maybe it's just something as simple as some feather sticks. A pocket knife can pretty much do all that. No problem at all. You can just use your lighter instead of buying special all-weather camp matches. A lot of places advertise that they have camp matches and these storm-proof matches, and they are nice, but they're expensive. Each match is pretty expensive. I've seen some of them recently that each match came out to close to 50 cents a match, and they're big matches, and yes, they're supposed to be waterproof and storm-proof, windproof and all that. But seriously, just even a generic lighter is going to get, all your needs met when it comes to lighting a fire, like your campfire. So just use your lighter. And lastly, it's okay to just use your toilet paper. Just bring a roll or a bit of toilet paper from home. You don't need to buy special camping toilet paper or even those camp wipes. Now, they are biodegradable, but so are most of the wet wipes out nowadays. So just, pay attention to when you're buying your wet wipes, and most of them will say biodegradable, and you're good to go. So you don't need to spend an extra few dollars on camping wipes or special camping toilet paper when it pretty much in most cases is nothing out of the ordinary from what you're already using. So I just want to mention these things. A camping experience that's simplified for me is more enjoyable. There's less to keep up with. There's less things that can go wrong. There's just less technology that can distract you from the experience of relaxation and peace. As always, you guys take care. Catch you later.